Oh, perfect. Wow. We've heard some really cool things about all sorts of fantastic technology that helps your brain, and years of R&D that's gone into that, decades of R&D. I'm going to talk to you about meditation. That has 2,500 years of R&D. But all joking aside, so the problem with meditation, right, is that when you say the word meditation, if I say it now, what's the image that comes into your head? Yeah, what do the people look like that do it? What position are they in? What's in the environment? Yeah, we've all got the same image in our heads. I'm absolutely certain of that. That's a problem, because actually meditation's got a lot to offer. If I ask you what are the benefits of meditation, pretty much everybody will say stress reduction, relaxes you, makes you feel calmer. But there's a lot more to it than that, and that's what I want to talk to you about. So this is the paragraph that I read that first got me really interested. Suppose you read about a pill that you could take once a day to reduce anxiety and increase your contentment. Would you take it? Suppose further that the pill has a great variety of side effects, all of them good. Increased self-esteem, empathy, and trust. It even improves your memory. You're hearing some things here that we've heard about earlier on. Suppose finally that the pill is all natural and costs nothing. Now would you take it? Well, the pill exists, and it's called mindfulness meditation. So I read this, and the thing is, I'm a doctor. I'm an emergency doctor, and I'm sure it's true of all doctors all over the world, but certainly in the UK, if you say to a doctor that something works, they'll say, I don't believe you until you show me the data. In fact, even when you show them the data, most of the time they still don't believe you because the study's not good enough or whatever. But I read this and I thought, well, okay, if that's true, I want to see the data. So I started looking into the science. And the science was really interesting, really impressive. I'll talk a little bit about it more in a second. But it was interesting enough that I gave up a career in medicine to go and join this company that's one of several that are trying to get meditation into the mainstream. And the reason I did that was because of the potential that I could see for benefiting mankind in general. But before I go any further, let me just define a couple of things here, right? So, meditation and mindfulness, the words are used interchangeably. And actually all the science that I'm going to talk about is about mindfulness meditation. So let's just clear some of this stuff up. What is meditation? Meditation is a practice, it's, in fact, a whole set of different practices that train a mental capacity. So the simple analogy is like a gym. When you go to the gym, there are different machines and they train different skills, different parts of your body. Well, meditation as a group noun is like a gym, and there are different types of meditation, and they have lots of things in common, but by and large, they train slightly different skills in your brain. Mindfulness meditation then, which comes from 2,500-year-old Buddhist roots, teaches you the skill of mindfulness. That's what the meditation does. So what's mindfulness? Well, mindfulness is a state of mind. We can all do it. Everybody does. Regularly. And really, put very simply, what it means is just paying attention to what's going on right now in a non-judgmental way. It's as simple as that. It's paying attention to the present moment. Not just what's going on out there, but also what's going on inside. How do I feel? What am I thinking? What physically can I feel? All the time in the present moment. So this is changing all the time, moment to moment. And mindfulness meditation familiarizes you with that sensation. That's the idea, right? You do the meditation. I'm not trying to get you to meditate for 12 hours every day. You wouldn't get anything else done. But you don't have to. You only have to do it for 10 minutes a day, and that's enough to become familiar with what it feels like to be mindful. And of course, it makes sense from the definition, right? If paying attention to the present moment is what mindfulness is, then you can do that no matter what you're doing, as long as you're awake. So what we're trying to do is get people to learn this skill and then apply it to their daily life. Walking, exercising, cooking, talking, playing sports. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you can do it all mindfully. So, okay, fair enough. You're probably thinking, well, look, paying attention to the present moment, I do that. That's not a problem. Everybody can do that. Well, everybody can. Everybody does. But this is an interesting number. So psychologists at Harvard University in 2010 did this study, and they found that the average adult, like you and me, spends 47% of their waking time not paying attention to the present moment. Literally lost in thought, elsewhere in their mind. 47%. That's half of your waking life, not paying attention to what's happening. Now, okay, let's think this one through, right? Maybe that's not a big deal. Maybe in all that time that you're thinking other stuff, you're thinking great stuff. You're solving the world's problems, you are thinking up your next investment strategy, you are, absolutely working out that killer line that is going to make your loved one love you even more. Yeah, maybe. Sometimes, arguably. But the truth is, when you actually ask people what they're thinking about, most of the time when they're lost in thought, they're either thinking about something in the future or something in the past. And the thoughts that they're having have a negative aspect to them. They're worrying. They are ruminating. They're angry. They wish they'd done something different in the past. Why did I say that? Why didn't I say this? That thing that's going to happen in the future, oh my God, I hope it goes well. Oh God, what happens if it goes badly? Oh, I'm going to lose my job. Oh God, I'm going to be late. Oh no. And negative, round and round and round and round. Now, if you think that you can do that for half of your lifetime and there not be a consequence, then you've got another thing coming. So, why? There's a lot to it. I'm going to simplify a little bit, but fundamentally, the foundation boils down to two areas of the brain, the amygdala and the frontal cortex. The amygdala is the seat of emotion. It's the place that your fear, fight, flight response comes from. It's an ancient part of the brain in evolutionary terms, and it is there to keep you alive. It's there to give you a survival advantage. The frontal cortex is much younger in evolutionary terms. It's the bit that you think from. It's your logical, rational, decision-making brain. And these two are wired together. They're physically connected. And it's interesting because each one is trying to inhibit the other. So they're in this constant tug of war. But the thing is, the amygdala is a bit more sensitive and it's a bit more powerful. And so usually it wins the tug of war. And that's a good thing if you're trying to survive. So you're walking down the path in the jungle, and out comes the saber-toothed tiger, and you've got two options, right? You can either stop and think, saber-toothed tiger, now that's dangerous, and what would be my best strategy in this situation? Maybe do something. Or you can hijack your frontal cortex, don't think, just run. That's the amygdala, right? That's why it's there. That's what it does. That's what it has done fantastically for tens of thousands of years. But the problem is that when you're thinking these negative thoughts over and over and over, your amygdala doesn't know that that's not real. It doesn't know that you're just thinking. All it hears is bad, catastrophe, risk, problem, death, And so all the time, it's just trying to damp down your frontal cortex, okay? It's literally making you stupider. And there's a physical response as well, right? The fear, fight, flight response. So your cortisol level in your blood goes up. Cortisol's a fantastic drug. Really, really good if you need to run away from a saber-toothed tiger. Really bad to have constantly raised in your blood. It does horrible things to your metabolism. It raises your risk of cardiovascular disease. It damps down your immune system. It's not a good thing to have constantly elevated. And every time you go round and round and round and round in these negative thoughts in your head, you're just keeping your cortisol level up a little bit. And psychologically, it's like cutting a track in a record, right? You play the same record over and over and over, and the track just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. The next time you have a thought, you're more likely to have a negative thought because you've practiced negative thinking over and over. So, as I said, there's more to it than that, but at a fundamental level, you can see why this doesn't sound like a very good thing to be spending nearly half of your lifetime doing. And so, when you start looking into the science of the benefits of meditation, I should probably just say quickly, there's about 30 years worth of good academic research. It came from a doctor in the States called John Kabat-Zinn in the 1970s. He created the first secular, so non-religious, non-spiritual course to teach people meditation, and he tested it to see whether it helped his patients with chronic pain and stress. And that started all the science, people going, wow, this is interesting, what else can it do? And because of why it started and because of some of the stuff that I've already explained to you, it makes sense that it helps you with depression, and there's a huge amount of evidence there now. This study, the bold didn't come out, but basically it says that mindfulness meditation is as effective as antidepressants for depression. The big difference is that there are no negative side effects, and there's never been any evidence of any harm to anybody in any studies over 30 years. So that's interesting on its own. Okay, another study actually just done in Sweden in primary care in about 16 different locations showed that mindfulness meditation was as effective as CBT, as cognitive behavioral therapy for depression. So there's a lot of stuff looking at depression, and from what we've already talked about, that makes sense, okay? But it's not just about that. It's not just about stress and depression and anxiety, and that's where I get really excited. When you start looking at the research, and it's an exponential curve, what you find is actually there's loads of cool stuff out there that you just think, wow, really? Meditation does that? I like to think of it very simply as either supportive benefits or enhancing benefits. The supportive benefits are the ones I've already talked a little bit about. They're things that help you with things that would otherwise undermine your ability to do your normal job or your normal life. So things like anxiety, depression, stress, insomnia, pain. There's loads of good research there. There's most of the body of research is there just because those are the things that they first started looking at. But what I find really interesting are the enhancing benefits. So these are things that supercharge your ability in some way. So this is very similar to some of the stuff that you've already heard about. Things like cognitive performance, working memory. There's just raw processing speed. If you think like your brain's like a processor in a computer, what they find is that people who do mindfulness meditation think about 4% faster in terms of raw cognitive processing speed. 4% is not a big number. What's interesting is that at the same time as thinking 4% faster, those same people make 30% fewer errors. Now, I think that's fascinating. I would not have thought that that would be something that would be a benefit from meditation. And there's all kinds of other stuff, creativity. People think of more new ideas when they've had a basis in mindfulness meditation. And also pro-social benefits. So there's some really interesting work being done now looking at things like compassion. People who have had a training in mindfulness meditation, just a brief training, are significantly more likely to behave compassionately towards a stranger in need, even in a context where their environment would normally inhibit them from doing so. So there's a couple of psychologists now in universities around the world starting to look at some of these sort of wider social potential benefits. So, this is really cool. The thing is, like I said, it's meditation. So when you say to somebody, well, there's all this great stuff, and they're like, yeah, but it's meditation. I don't do meditation. So one of the things that Headspace is trying to do is to get people to be a bit more open to it by presenting it in a different way. And I'm just going to show you a very quick animation to show you how we present it.
Say hello to Headspace. Think of it like a gym membership for the mind. Using proven meditation and mindfulness techniques, we'll show you how to train your mind for a healthier, happier, more enjoyable life. Now you can get Headspace on your phone or on your computer. Just open up the app or visit the site in your browser and follow the simple instructions to get going. The best place to start is with Take 10. It's a free 10-day program where you can learn the basics of meditation in just 10 minutes a day. If you enjoy Take 10 and want to learn more, then it's time to subscribe. When you do, you'll get access to hundreds of hours of original Headspace content, including guided and unguided exercises from 2 minutes to an hour. That's a whole lot of mindfulness. If there's a particular area you'd like to focus on, whether that's health, performance, or relationships, we've got you covered with our special series collections. Or, if you prefer, you can dip in and out with our Headspace singles. They're great for one-off meditations or learning how to apply mindfulness to everyday activities. There's also our SOS sessions, made up of truly bite-sized meditations, to help you in those meltdown moments. Now you can track your progress in stats, buddy up with friends, and if you manage to meditate several days in a row, you'll even get rewarded with bonus gifts. Oh, and by the way, if you do buy a subscription, as part of our Get Some Give Some program, we'll match it by donating a subscription to someone in need. So, why not get started today? Who knows? Maybe if you treat your head right, everything else will follow.
So, hopefully you can see that's a bit different from what you probably had in your mind when you first imagined the kind of person that does meditation, that whole association that people have with the word. And this is the point, right? So that was, the voice you heard was Andy. He's the founder of the company. He was an Englishman. He was a Buddhist monk for 10 years, trained in Tibet and Burma. So he really knows what he's talking about. He knows how to teach this. But it's packaged in a way that is accessible, it's bite-sized, it's in your pocket, it's on your phone, and it doesn't have all of those kind of visual associations or other associations that most people normally have with meditation. And so people are starting to be a bit more open-minded to it. The combination of the scientific findings and the different presentation, we've got 2 million, just under 2 million users now, growing at about 100,000 a month. We're in the right place at the right time. There's been a lot of stuff about mindfulness in the media, but I think it helps to put it in a way that is a bit more refreshed, a bit more relevant to the 21st century. So just a couple more slides. I'm at a disrupting healthcare talk, right? So let me give you some ideas about why I think this can disrupt healthcare. So my job is to oversee all of the research that we're involved in, and at the moment we're involved in research with over 25 universities all around the world looking at potential benefits of meditation. Literally we get another university coming to us about once every week or two saying, can we do some research, and can we partner with you to look at the benefits. And it's, as I was saying before, not just stress, but also cognitive function, workplace ROI, human performance, health, both healthcare providers and also health benefits for patients, and then some of these enhancing benefits that I've been talking about. So just 3 quick ideas. This is a good, reputable source from the NHS, the National Health System in the UK, and this was the estimated cost of sickness absence of staff in 1 year in the NHS in 2012-13. £1.5 billion. That's not lost productivity, that's just the cost of backfilling the staff. That's a significant cost. It equates to 13.7 million days lost, or just under 61,000 individuals. Now, Transport for London, which is the organisation that runs the metro system and the buses in London in the UK, have been teaching mindfulness in person to their staff for a few years now and measuring the impact of that. They're one of the most forward-thinking organisations in this respect. And they found that amongst the people who actually do the mindfulness training, their sickness absence rate halves. That's significant, right? Short amount of mindfulness training, and the benefits last. They don't just taper off over time. Once somebody has learned how to do this, as long as they keep practicing, they keep the benefit. And you can halve the sickness absence rate. Different idea. Hold on, let me come back to this one. Long-term conditions, defined slightly differently in different places, but basically what they are conditions that you have to be treated for many, many years. They don't necessarily kill you, but they require medical input. So the top 5, depending on who you talk to, are COPD, diabetes, hypertension or cardiovascular disease, arthritis, and then depression, or various people argue about the 5th one. The estimate is in the UK that 75% of the spend on healthcare in the National Health Service, and the National Health Service annual budget is over £110 billion. 75% of that spend is associated with looking after people with these 5 long-term conditions. So that's a huge amount of money. Now, why am I telling you this? Because people who have long-term conditions, 30% of them also have a mental health problem, usually anxiety or depression. And the reason that is because, they've got this disease that's going to be with them for life. If you take diabetes, if you don't look after that, you're going to go blind, you're going to have your feet amputated, and you're going to need a kidney transplant. So when you've got this thing, often you get depressed as well. And when you're depressed, you don't do the things you're supposed to do to look after the diabetes. And so the combination of the two, the long-term condition and the mental health problem, means that those people have really bad outcomes, and they cost the health system a lot more money. So one of the things that I want to do is, there's a lot of evidence out there that shows that meditation helps reduce the recurrence of depression if you've already had a diagnosis of it. There's an increasing amount of evidence that shows that meditation can treat depression. What I want to do is prove that meditation can reduce the rate of people developing depression. Because I believe that's probably true, and if I can prove that, then there's a very strong case to make to say when somebody is diagnosed with something like diabetes, part of their treatment plan right from day one should be learning how to do mindfulness, because their outcomes are likely to be better. And then last of all, this is the World Health Organization, a couple of statistics. The ones on the left, disability-adjusted life years. So this is the number of healthy years lost globally. And I've picked out these ones. We've lost some of the things there. But basically, they're the long-term conditions, effectively, right? And also stroke and I can't remember what the one on the right is. But when you add them all up, you get to 19.5% of all healthy years lost, okay? So that's on the left. I'll tell you why I'm telling you this in a second. On the right, again, some of these are supposed to be orange. When you add the orange ones up, you get to 35% of all deaths on the planet. So the right-hand side is mortality, okay? The orange things, sorry, the slides have messed up a bit, but the orange things, the thing that they have in common, the thing that's the same about both of them, is that all those conditions have a very strong component of lifestyle in them. So there are things that, by and large, if we make healthier choices, we can make a big difference to. And, because of healthcare economics around the world, people are saying we need to stop thinking about treating things. We need to start thinking about preventing things. And this is stuff like, making healthier eating choices, doing more exercise, not smoking, not drinking so much. These things that we do to ourselves are becoming more and more relevant, more and more responsible for the global burden of disease and death. Why is this relevant? Because one of the things that paying attention to the present moment as much as possible does is it makes you aware of your bad habits. So in any given moment when you might otherwise just have automatically pulled out a cigarette and started smoking, or automatically taken another biscuit because it's there, you notice that you do that. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to change your behavior, but it gives you an opportunity to notice that you're going to do it before you do it and then go, do I really want to do that? So just by becoming more aware of these bad habits, I think there's a massive opportunity here to start dealing with these lifestyle issues that are increasingly going to bankrupt our health systems and kill off millions and millions of people. So meditation, next time you think about meditation, don't just think about kind of people with incense, because you don't need incense. You just need to practice your attention for 10 minutes a day. And there's so much that I think this can do to benefit humankind. So that's it. No, thank you.